Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Midwifery talk here in Trinity College, Dublin. My name is Kathryn Muldoon, and I'm a midwifery lecturer here in the School of Nursing and Midwifery, which is actually on Lear Street, not actually in the main campus here of Trinity. Just a little bit about myself. I qualified as a midwife in '92, and I've been working in the Trinity since 2006, and I absolutely love my job, and a midwife is a fantastic career for me, and I hope you enjoy the talk today. It will be about 20 minutes. Once I'm in, there'll be lots of time if anyone wants to ask questions. If you don't want to ask questions in front of everybody else, you're welcome to come up to me on your own afterwards. So I won't take any questions until I'm finished. So basically what I'm trying to do today is just give you a little bit about what being a midwife is and about the programme that we offer here at Trinity. Because I think people like to know what's actually going to happen when you what's the course of the programme made up of. So, as I said, the School of Nursing and Midwifery is in Lear Street. It was the old gas building, and that's all that's in that school is nursing and midwifery. You obviously would still be very much linked with the main campus, but we're just off-site. And it's a very nice school. So, when we talk about midwifery, we're going to look at about sharing new beginnings for you as potential students. What does midwife mean? Midwife actually means with woman. And that's, being a midwife, that's exactly what we do. We are with the women. And midwifery is possibly one of the oldest professions, and still going and still a very popular career path for people. We had, up until 2006, the only way you could be a midwife in Ireland was to do a nursing, either a degree or at that stage it used to be a diploma, and then go on and do a postgrad midwifery programme. And in 2006, all midwifery education moved into the universities. And we had our first undergrad BSc in midwifery start in September '06. And I was the coordinator of that programme, and they qualified last September. So that's a major achievement for us to have the first undergrad programme go through. And now we have first, second, third and fourth year. So people are now, people who now want to be midwife can go straight in and do their undergrad midwifery programme. So when we talk about philosophy of midwifery, it's very much, we view childbirth as a life cycle, that it's a normal, healthy event. Whereas when people do nursing, they're dealing with illness, disease, sickness. Midwives, midwifery, we're not interested. Obviously, people may be sick or whatever, but our philosophy is very much that childbirth is a normal, physiological event, and the women that we deal with are generally, in the reproductive years, are healthy women, for the most part. The focus is very much on women and their families, and offering women the women-centred. You see how women is everywhere. Be with the woman. Women-centred maternity services. Very much, we as a midwife, you are in partnership with the woman. Very much this is partnership. It's fundamental to midwifery practice. The midwife uses the skills and knowledge to provide care that is individual to each woman, but the woman is the owner of her whole childbirth experience. We as midwives facilitate them in this whole process. So, what are the key concepts that are central to midwifery? Normality. So we're very much dealing with the normal. We're women-centred. Respect. Because as I said, the women, they are owners. They are the people who are pregnant and who are giving birth and who are looking after their baby after the birth, not us. So they own it. We respect them. We work in partnership. The woman is always first. The care that we provide is very much, it has to be evidence-based. So we're providing evidence-based care. And a big part of a midwife's role is being an advocate for the woman. So in case situations where she's not able to make a decision, or we are making sure that we're being advocates for that particular individual. On board All Clinician is the governing body that governs nursing and midwifery. So once you do your 4-year midwifery programme, you will register. It's on board All Clinician, you register to practice as a midwife. That's the governing body. So, while we're very much talking about protecting and promoting normality for women, we have a very important role in detecting when something is not right and detecting complications. And a big part of education of midwifery students is that you have to know the normal, because if you don't, you are not going to be able to know when something is not normal. And that's a really, really important part of our role. Once it's abnormal, it's out of our scope and we must be referred to the medical team. And the midwife is a key member of this multidisciplinary team. Most births in Ireland, 99%, happen in hospitals. The two clinical sites associated with Trinity are the Rotunda and the Coombe. And each of those have over 8,000 births per year. So the midwife is a really important part of that multidisciplinary team. And the last talk, one of the people that were here asked me, does the doctor do the birth? So no, if it's normal, that's what the midwife does. And actually the woman gives birth, we facilitate her. We don't give birth, we facilitate her. But if it's normal, and you as a student, from the minute you're out in practice, you may see 1 or 2 births first, and then you'll be very much hands-on. And students still remember their first birth, and a lot of students cry at the first birth, because it's such an amazing experience. And we actually are so privileged that women, we are actually there. That's such an important event in a woman's life and in the family's life. So it really is a fantastic experience. So that's what midwives do. You're dealing with the normality. So, as I said, most care is offered in hospitals, most care, but within the Coombe and the Rotunda, they also have community, postnatal community services, or they have Domino, where the midwife sees the woman in the home all throughout the pregnancy. They come in and they birth within the hospital, and then they go back out to their home, and the midwife follows them up in the community, both the mother, the baby, and the family. And that's a really, midwives feel really empowered when they're doing that, because they are solely responsible for providing this care, providing it is all normal. Again, we do work with obstetricians and other members of the healthcare team when women experience complications. So say if they have diabetes in pregnancy, while they need to have a medical input, the midwife is also a key role in that. But the most important thing is that we detect complications and refer them. So we talk about preconception care. This is the care that we would offer to women prior to becoming pregnant. So that the whole aim of that is that the women are in their optimum health. So we're looking at like smoking, alcohol, lifestyle, exercise, weight, all of that will be addressed. So it's a very much health promotion focus. Then antenatal care is all the care once they have known that they're pregnant until they go into labour. So the midwife is very much in that, assessing the mother and the baby's well-being. We're not just concerned with physical, we're very much in the psychological, the emotional, because while childbirth is a very happy occasion for most people, there can be people who it is not, and it poses a lot of challenges, and we need to be there to support them in those situations as well. It's a very important time antenatally to share information and education, so that information all about the pregnancy is delivered throughout by the midwife, and the whole idea of preparing them for labour and childbirth, and then to be able to care for their baby afterwards. So a lot of women would go to antenatal classes, and those classes would be delivered by midwives. So the whole idea is during pregnancy and then preparing them for birth. The overall aim of midwifery care during labour and childbirth is that at the end of it, we have a safe, healthy mother and a safe, healthy baby. That's our overall aim. It is now, women now expect to have a normal, healthy baby. That's society the way it is. And it's up to us to make sure that the outcome is safe for both the mother and the baby. What's really important to women today is that they have a fulfilling birth experience. Women who have a traumatic birth experience, they live with that for the rest of their lives. I would say to the last group, women, when you're facilitating the labour and birth with a woman, you have such a huge connection with that woman. They know you, they will remember your name for the rest of their life. I still meet women that I facilitated with their birth. They still know my name. I don't know theirs because I forget them, but that's what women. I know women called their baby after the name of the midwife because they had such a fulfilling experience. And that's what we want women to leave with, that they had a very fulfilling and an enjoyable experience of childbirth. Postnatal care then, so once the baby is birthed, that the aim is to help the woman to adapt successfully. Huge role of a midwife in making sure, because once having a new baby is a huge responsibility. Women often say to me, they look at it and say, I have to look after this. They are the sole person or persons, the mother or the father, that are looking after this baby. So this is a really important time for them. And every parent wants to do no harm to their baby. We as midwives must make sure that they have the skills and the knowledge to be able to care for their baby safely when they go home. And that's a big part. So looking at the mother's well-being, that she recovers from the whole pregnancy and birth, also psychological well-being, establishment of infant feeding. Midwives have a huge role in promoting breastfeeding. And once a woman is breastfeeding, midwives have an even bigger role in making sure that they do it successfully, so that they have all of the support and education again. And the whole thing is about making sure that the mother and baby have developed that bond, attachment, relationship, and it's also the impact that it has for families. Because you're not just dealing with the woman, you're dealing with the whole family. Now, the 4-year midwifery programme, what is it about? What does it look like? It's very important that we integrate theory and practice. And the midwifery student will be exposed to a significant amount of midwifery practice. I suppose one of the things that we are very proud of in Trinity, and not every university does this, when once midwifery students start the programme in year 1, for the first 10 weeks they're in college. But from week 4 or week 5, we bring you out to the clinical areas 1 day a week. So while you learn to do a blood pressure up in our skills centre up in James, that's part of Trinity up in James's hospital, it's a building there called the Trinity Centre. So you learn that. The following week, we as lecturers and the clinical skills facilitators in the hospital will bring you out and you will do them on real women. We talk about the abdominal palpation when we're assessing the size of the baby, what way the baby is lying. You will do that in the lab, and then we'll bring you out. So from a very early stage, you are very exposed to what midwifery is all about. And then when you start your first placement in January, you know the hospital, you know how to get there, you know where to change, you know where the canteen is, and you actually know a lot of people. So that first placement is not as traumatic, because we've been exposing you from a very early stage in the programme. Now, in order to do that, we have to have more personnel. So for us, we have to be available to go out. But we feel it is so valuable, where a lot of universities, they spend the whole 10 weeks in college and they only go out to the clinical areas on their first placement. And they do a lot of stuff in skills. And women, it never amazes me, they are just so willing to be able to say, no problem, the student can watch, if we're doing a palpation, if we're bathing a baby, whatever. They are so welcome because they know that people have to learn, and we are very lucky, and I suppose that's one of the really big pluses, I would say. So the programme is made up of 63 weeks theory, 49 weeks practice, that's up until year 3, and then in year 4, from January to September of year 4, is what's known as the internship period. I don't know if some of you may be aware at the moment, but one of the things that the Department of Health are proposing to do is to stop payment for that internship period for both nursing and midwifery. At the moment, the internship midwifery students get 80% of a staff midwife's salary. Next year, it's going to be cut, and hope they're saying by 2014 there'll be no payment. What can I say to you at the moment? I don't know what's going to happen. We are fighting it, all the universities are fighting it, as is the union. But that's where it is. But the only thing is that once you start the programme, you will know whether you're going to be paid or not. Whereas the people who started, they knew that they were being paid, and therefore they can't take it all the way from them. But that's down the road. They see that as that internship will not be paid. A lot of students really look forward to that thing because they've sacrificed a lot, and then at least they feel they're getting some salary from January. And when we talk about supernumerary, it doesn't mean that you're just sitting in the ward and you can turn up when you want to. You're very much part of the team, but you're not part of the numbers when they look and say, and you will be supported by a preceptor during that time. Whereas the internship, you are part of the numbers. So that's why the payment was always there when you're actually doing work. This is our 4-year planner. And you can see there the yellow is classroom and the red is theory. And you see the first 6 weeks there, you see the red going across the one little bit of it. That's you going out into the clinical areas from such an early stage. And then in year 1, you do 3 core placements. You do an antenatal placement, so that's all to do with antenatal women who are in during the antenatal period. You do a labour and delivery placement, so you'll be there with the women who's facilitating them with their birth, and then you'll do a placement in the postnatal period. So that's the thing, and then you can see year 4, the blue there, that's the internship. So you're nearly there when you get to that stage. These, again, abdominal palpations, baby bathing, these are just some of the things that midwives will do. Some of you may have been at the skills, were you, this morning? There was 2 of the midwives actually doing skills about what midwives actually do. I think the feedback from that was extremely positive. So, the role of the midwife then, women require individualised care, continuity of care. The advice that we give them must be consistent. So there's no point one midwife telling them something and then another midwife telling them something else, because that's very confusing. Accurate information, skilled help and emotional support. And as I said to you, I'm a lecturer here in Trinity. I used to teach in the Coombe for 7 or 8 years before we moved in here. And I still am involved in a midwife's clinic. So I go back out, I have my own clinic, my own low-risk, normal women come to me and they see me for all of their antenatal care. And the one thing they love is that continuity. They know me, I know them, I know their families, you build up a relationship. And a lot of them will say to you, Kathryn, will you be there at the birth? But unfortunately, that's not. Some services do offer that, they follow them right the way through. Within the 2 hospitals that we have, that's not an option at the moment. But there are a lot of challenges out there for midwives, and definitely we can see those areas actually happening, which is really, really positive for midwives and for the women to be able to start and bring them right through the whole childbirth cycle. So, why would you come to Trinity? We have a very good record here in relation to education. It's within the top 100 in relation to internationally ranked in relation to excellence. So that's a really one main reason why you'd come here. The 4-year programme will be delivered between, as I said, the Rotunda and the Coombe. So for each intake, there are 40 students. 20 will be allocated to the Rotunda and 20 will go to the Coombe. Once you are, whatever site you go to from the beginning, that's the one you will stay in. But the services that are offered, as I said, over 8,000 births in both of them, the services that you will be exposed to as a midwifery student are very similar, and there's really no difference. There's no advantage in moving going to the Coombe for first year and the Rotunda for second year. I think in the beginning we had this, we thought it would work, but the uniforms are different. And once you get your uniform, that's for the Coombe or it's for the Rotunda. There'll be a lot of confusion if it's all Coombe uniform but only Rotunda, then probably vice versa. So you stay in your area. Once you have successfully completed your 4-year programme, you will be able to register as a midwife, as I said, with On Board Outreach, which is the governing body. And you'll have a midwifery degree from the University of Dublin, Trinity College. There, as I said, the Rotunda, and it's now called the Coombe Women's University Hospital. The name has changed. I haven't changed it on that, but that's what it's called now, the Coombe Women's and Infants University Hospital. The Coombe is over in kind of Dolphin's Bar, and you might, it's kind of near on Cork Street. It's not that far, whereas the Rotunda is at the end of O'Connell Street, Parnell Square. So we believe that an education as a midwife and doing midwifery is a lifelong process. It will reflect the knowledge and skills required to inform practice and be able to advance the profession and the changing needs of society. And that's changing all the time. Women's they want different maternity services, and the midwife's going to have a huge role there. The curricula that's offered here will offer you the pathway for personal, professional development and be able for you as a student to seek your potential. And it reflects the evolving healthcare requirements, so the programme will reflect what's actually happening out there. Students will be facilitated through teaching and learning. You become articulate, you become inquisitive practitioners, capable of problem solving, analysis, reflection, self-direction, because you have to, at the end, be able to work as an autonomous practitioner. So you have to have all those skills. And as I said at the beginning, you are the advocate for the woman. So if you're not inquisitive, able to analyse, critical thinking, you're not going to be able to do that. Students are respected and valued as adults, and in their pursuit of personal and professional development, they are guided, supported and facilitated by the educators through the implementation of a very caring and responsive curriculum. So, as I said to you, I was course coordinator of the first cohort, the 4-year programme. We have learned a lot. We have made changes to the curriculum based on what the students' feedback and what they told us, so that we are always striving to improve our programme, so that the experience that the students have is improving all of the time. So, as I said, a 4-year programme. The first year is in the 3 years university and the clinical site, and then the last, which we've said, is the 36-week internship, which we don't know whether you will be paid for in the future. What do you do? What knowledge do you learn? We talk a lot about midwifery practice, communication, interpersonal skills. So in the first year, you will be actually video recorded in a communication interaction, and then you'll have to look at that and you write it out. So that's a really important part of midwifery programme. Professional, personal, ethical, legal issues, knowledge-based biological sciences, psychology, sociology, pharmacology, research, health promotion, and the whole maternity and social care. We have a variety of teaching strategies that we use. Lectures is one, interactive discussions, a lot of stuff online, groups, the laboratories, the skills I talked about, group work, tutorials, self-directed learning, problem-solving scenarios, and reflective practice. And there's one assignment in year 3, which is called the parent education assignment. And you actually deliver a particular aspect of an antenatal class to real women. So it's really, really good. It's not just done to an audience, it's very much the real situation. If you have a career as a midwife, you have worldwide options open to you. You can work as a midwife in many different settings all over the world, Australia, New Zealand. You can go on and do postgrad, masters, PhD. You can research and education, like myself, go in and become a lecturer. This I like. Being a midwife, it is a kind of privilege to stand so close to such an incredible miracle as childbirth, and really, really believe it is a miracle to actually see and be there and be present and have been privileged to be present for such a major life event for couples. I'll see you in September. If you want any more information, you can go onto the website, This actual session has been podcast, and the lecture notes and me talking, if you want to listen again, will be available on the website. And do you have any questions?